Good evening, guys. It's a Sunday. It's the agenda. It's me, Mr. B, joined by Bath Time, who you already know. And if you don't know, Tyrone. This is the perks of the agenda. Look, he doesn't even have his camera on, and it's not even an issue. Welcome, Tyrone. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you very much for having me tonight.
Oh, that's no problem, man. That's no problem. Bath Time. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited that we've got a new face here. Like we were hoping to get loads of people on during the Euros and whatever, and we've finally got Tyrone on, so it's good.
After 2 weeks of begging, but you know what? It's all right.
Yeah.
The seasonal start when Ten Hag and all of our players start smashing teams, and they're all going to want to come. It's fine. There's going to be space. We've got space for 8. So yeah, look, maybe it will be a big one eventually. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, season it's pre-season tomorrow.
Oh yes, they're all back. Yes, I will ask you. What do you reckon? Who's coming back? You reckon Sancho's back tomorrow?
Absolutely not. Sancho will be like he'll just be told like, look, you can have another 2 weeks off or whatever. I would think that like Højlund, McTominay players in the Euros, they've probably got another 10 days or something before they're back. Like even the ones that went out of the group stage. But who else are we trying to get rid of? Like
Maguire.
Well, I've heard some news that Maguire's on the list to go. I don't know how true it is, but
You heard that same list as me then, Tyrone.
yeah, I've heard Joshua Zirkzee. There's an agreement that's been made with Bologna, and I've heard that Harry Maguire is on the list to go because we want to play a high line next season, so it's going to be different.
Well,
Hopefully.
look, we'll start with the Zirkzee one. Before that, though, I'm just going to say hello to a few people in the chat. Stephanie Griffiths, looking forward to ZZ Top playing at Old Trafford and other grounds next season. Solo, big up, my friend. How you doing, man? Chat Sport, I see you. Have a nice little evening. Bilal, Donny did nothing in the United shirt, but Donny fanboys and fangirls still think he's the answer. We'll talk about Donny. We're going to talk about Zirkzee first. Here we go. Sancho is going to Carrington, apparently. But the original troller, how you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Zirkzee. So go on then. So we've had him in. It's been quite a positive deal. I mean, I would say moving forward, the speed at which it's been done, considering what we've been doing, the fact that we've gazumped a team. All right, it's only AC Milan. But they had Champions League to offering him. We're offering him 90,000 a week, which is
that all?
Yeah.
90k a week.
90k a week, apparently.
I think in this day and age, 90,000 a week is quite low, isn't it?
Which is beautiful.
Yeah.
I
So
think that
40 million, like for the transfer fee, or is that 40 million euros?
I think it's 34 million euros.
And we're paying him less than 100k a week.
Less than 100k a week.
Wow. Good stuff, Ineos.
Yeah, see, it does sound like they're doing well. I've got a kicker for you in that deal, though. So Bayern are going to pick up 17 million of that.
Sell on.
Sell on. They had a 50 million. They had a 50% sell on when they let him go.
So Bologna are getting rid of a player for about 20 million, for like less than 20 million then, to Manchester United.
They don't, but it's the buyout. It's the buyout clause. They don't have the option, do they?
I thought that we couldn't afford the buyout clause because of cash flow, and that we're having to negotiate a separate deal.
Is that part of the rumor? Is that something that's up? Well, if that means they're going to do a separate deal, it means that they're going to be going lower. But it's always the maximum. So the maximum we're going to pay is going to be 34 million.
God, that's a good deal. Tyrone, what are you thinking about Zirkzee?
From what I've seen of him, I thought he was a bit hyped up, if I'm being honest. But 34 million. No, 34 million is low risk. 34 million. It's not like we're spending crazy money, like 70, 80 million again. So I'll give him a chance. He looked good when he came on for Holland the other night. So he might prove me wrong, and I hope he does.
Oh, did he play against Turkey?
He came on.
He did. Yeah.
He came on the last 4 minutes or something like that.
Time wasting sub.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's great for us, isn't it? All the players we've been linked with haven't bloody played.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they can both play against England, and we can get a look at them against a lot of players. But I'm quite excited about Zirkzee. He's a different profile, but I do have the feeling that he's a kind of step on the way to getting United back. Whereas I think that when you put him at 90k a week, like under 40 million, he's a player I wouldn't be surprised to see being sold within the next 3 seasons.
So you don't really? So you don't think that maybe they've started and he's accepted that it could be an incentive-based thing? You don't feel that he can make? Do you feel he's going to be? Well, technically, he's better than bloody what we've got already. He's better than Højlund.
You think he's technically better than Rashford?
Better than Højlund. Not going to say better than Rashford. Better than Højlund.
Okay.
So if he's going to be replacing him, at least we know the ball's going to stick.
Yeah, but right. So the way that I kind of see it, Mr. B, is that we are going to go through 4 or 5 seasons of churn with our players for 2 reasons. One is because we need to address the debt. All right, this is assuming that the Glazers don't just pack up and sell and we clear the debt or whatever. But we need to generate money. We're in a bit of a unique position in the Premier League where other teams like Chelsea, Man City, they use their academy to balance the books. I don't think Manchester United will ever use their academy that way because of the history and the culture of the club, right? We'd be loath to academy players. I don't want to see them being sold 30, 40 million. And plus, all the ones that Chelsea and City are selling, they've all been part of these extraordinary England youth teams that have won everything, like Trafford, for example. We have very few Manchester United players in these teams. So that's a worry. The academy needs to start stepping up again because it's apart from Kobe, Greenwood, McTominay, there's not been a lot coming out for the last 20 years. But anyway.
Harry Amas looks good though at left back. I'll give him a little mention. He looks like he could be quite good for the future.
Yeah, but I mean, is he 16?
Is that the one we got from Watford? Is that the young guy that we got from Watford?
I think so. All I know is Luke Shaw endorsed him. Luke Shaw said he's going to be a good player, so I value Luke Shaw's opinion on it.
Do you?
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
Like, but I mean, I personally think that players like Zirkzee, right? What we're going to be looking at is a series of steps. And we can either look at it on the basis of next season. The end of next season, we need to be back in the Champions League.
Yeah, guaranteed. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. I would prefer to look at it in terms of points, where we've got to break 81 points at some point, right? That's our highest total since Fergie. Okay,
well, forgetting about the 81 for the minute, in regards to what points I've got kind of 4th place, I mean, just so you're not going to know this.
75.
Oh, thank you very much, buddy. Our bath time. Okay, so I'm not sure we could get 81 from what we had last season.
What, with the squad and the coaching staff?
Well, I mean, there has to be an improvement, but we were so far off. We were so far off. I mean, if 81 is what it takes to get 4th, then it's going to have to be 81. But I don't think it's going to be 81 that we need to get 4th.
No, I think Villa got 75 last season, and United have finished around the 74, 75 mark a lot. So that 75 points will get you 4th place, and I'm not even sure if 5th place is something that we need to.
Oh no! Look, let's not talk about.
Anyway,
5th. Yeah.
All right. This is the point that I want to make. Right, is that when you get a player in like Zirkzee, who's under 40 million and has low wages. And is young, he's a player that we're going to be looking to develop and sell, in my opinion. Like De Ligt, a player at 40 million who's young as well. We're not going to be losing huge amounts of money on these people. And the money we do lose, we can absorb because they're not going to lose like 50% of their transfer fee, I don't think. Unlike with the Glazers, we used to sign, let's call them like top-end players like Pogba, Sancho, people like that. There was huge. We lost so much money on all of them, and we're going to on Sancho, like 50-60% of their value. So what I think is going to happen is that United are going to get in 4 players and sell 4 players pretty much every summer for the next 4 or 5 years until we get to a position like a Manchester City or like an Arsenal, where we can then go for very expensive sort of centre pieces like a Haaland or a Rice or something.
Those normally
take time, innit? It's going to take quite a few years to sort it out.
So
those
are like the big pieces of the puzzle, though, isn't it? You know, the 70, 80 million pound players, the one that you need. They went out and bought Declan Rice for 100. Man City went and bought. So it's like the finishing.
Yeah. The finishing article. And I think what United have tried to do over the years is that, like, Luis Suarez was a big thing in the Premier League because he took a very ordinary Liverpool team very close to a title. Like one player elevated so many of them. And with United, we did this over the years, like Lukaku, Pogba, Alexis Sanchez, Sancho. We looked for the quickest fix possible by getting in what we thought was a world-class player. I think what Ineos are going to do is that they're going to get these 40, 50 million pound players, get them in, give them 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons, and then because they're on low money and they didn't cost a lot and they're young, we're able to churn them out. So whilst this summer, the players that are on this list, I think, Tyrone, you said Maguire's on the list?
Yeah, Maguire. Yeah.
Casemiro?
Yeah, Casemiro's on the list. Yeah, definitely.
Anthony?
I've not heard anything about Anthony. I think,
and that's the weird one.
Yeah.
There's nothing really
Eric
been.
Ten Hag might stick with him, you know, just because it's someone he brought in.
I don't think
see Anthony leaving.
Oh God!
This kind of goes to my point, though, is that Harry Maguire, his wages make him a Champions League player. All right, like he's on 200k or whatever it is. He's not going to drop his wages, so he has to go to a Champions League club. Anthony, vastly overpaid. He's on 150, 170, whatever. Their wages make them impossible to sort of move on. And Casemiro, thank God bless Saudi Arabia for coming into football, because at least we can.
I'm going to ask. Do you think he's going to go?
Because he didn't play in the cup final, there was an article in the Athletic that basically said he refused to play, which will come from someone directly at the club. I can't see how he can be back in the team.
Okay, my question to you then: you see, everybody talks about our Saudi coming in for players. If a player does not want to leave, what would be the situation there? I would just assume that the player would stay then, right?
Yeah, like maybe a payoff.
If they can't afford to pay him off 2 years at 350 grand, though, can they?
Yeah, but he might not take, like with Ronaldo. We just agreed to cancel the contract and no money swapped hands. It's my understanding.
Enough, okay.
So with Casemiro, it might be the case that we pay him I'm going to call it a small amount, but it won't be a small amount. It might be like 2 or 3 million or something like that, and the contract is cancelled, and he can sign for any team that isn't in the Europa League or is in England, and he can go to Grêmio or somewhere in Brazil. It could be something like that. I'd be very surprised if Casemiro is in our squad when we submit it on the 25th of August or whatever it is.
But you expect him to be back in pre-season?
Legally we have to let him back in. Like, we're contracted to do it, and we'll get fined and told off if we don't. But my point I wanted to make is that Maguire, Casemiro, Anthony, these players are all really difficult to move on. Zirkzee won't be. And that's the thing, is that we're going to get players now, I think, focusing on the resale value or the ease of selling them on. And I think that that's a good thing. And we just got a bit of pain at the moment, because if it's true we want to get rid of Maguire, which I wouldn't do at the moment, but if we wanted to get rid of him, it's very difficult to do it. And we're going to have to take some pretty painful hits, I think, in the next 3 or 4 transfer windows over players.
I just don't think De Ligt is enough, though. I know, there's talks about De Ligt coming into United, but I think we need another centre-back to come in. I just don't think it's enough to...
Do you mean enough in terms of numbers or as a player?
Quality.
Really?
Yeah, I do like Martinez, but I'm worried about his injuries. I'd still love Branthwaite to come in, but I know we can't have everybody, unfortunately. That's the only problem.
So we have Maguire, Lindelof, Willy Kambala, Martinez,
Evans.
and Evans. That's 5.
I forgot about him. I actually forgot about Kambala, actually. Wow.
And if we're being generous, we can say Casemiro.
Yeah.
He did play a lot. He played more than Willie did at centre-back last year.
He did impress me when he came in, though, Kambala, actually. I thought he wasn't too bad.
Yeah, but not too bad. It's not too bad. Not too bad considering how we played last season. He's not ready. He's not ready. I mean,
he's not ready, but he's definitely got potential he's definitely got potential to get a lot better, though.
Yeah. The boy needs a loan. Like,
he
does. So if you take him out, there's 4 centre backs, and we're trying to lose 2 of them in Maguire and in Lindelof. I personally would prefer to lose Lindelof, keep Maguire for a season.
Isn't he? But then he goes on a free though, doesn't he?
These are the painful hits that we might have to take because next year, right? We're going to have to do a show on this, Mr. B. But we're in the Europa League, and that is very likely to be an extra 14 games minimum next year, on top of the 38 in the Premier League and let's say 8 in the Cup. You're looking at a 60-game season. We can't be running around with just De Ligt, Martinez, and Willy Kambala.
No, we can't.
Oh, so we're going to buy 2 centre backs. I'm still convinced we're going to buy 2
and sell one or both of Maguire and Lindelof.
I think Lindelof, because Lindelof can play left back and right back like a utility man, I think he might end up staying ahead of Maguire just for that reason.
I think he might stay because of money.
I think there's been a bid from Jose at Fenerbahce for Lindelof for a pretty derisory 8 million. But he'll be
a lot more than that.
Well, the thing is, though, is he'll be fully amortized. So we'll have paid off his transfer fee to whoever it was, Sporting or whatever. And that means that 8 million coming in is pure profit. So that's not bad, like having an extra 8 million in the books with no financial stipulations to it. And then Adam Wan-Bissaka, I think, is probably going to go as well.
Yeah, right? That's a weird one because we've only got one right back, and the fact that they actively, it's not like Maguire where he's available to go. It sounds like they're actively trying to move Wan-Bissaka out the door.
Yeah.
So that means they have to have something lined up then, surely.
Because it's got to be British as well.
Yeah. And that's why I think Maguire's more likely to. That's why I think Maguire's more likely to stay than.
Well, Max Kilman's gone to West Ham, so that's like one of the biggest sort of destinations to Maguire gone.
Yeah.
And the thing is that we also see across the continent with Italian, French, and Spanish clubs, unless they're the very top club, they're not really spending more than 20-25 million on a player anymore. So even Italy, which a lot of people think Harry would do well in, and myself included, we might be looking at 20 million max from like an Inter or an AC or someone like that.
Would he go?
I think he'd go Champions League club.
Champions League. I think he'd be more suited to an Italian club, to be fair.
And you've got to remember that he'll be mates with Ashley Young, who went to Inter, won a Scudetto, and then came back, and if Juve came in for Harry Maguire, he'd say yes straight away. If Bayern Munich came in, he'd say yes straight away, because you're looking at playing top-end football at a top-end club, competing for trophies. And I think AC and Inter, I can see him going there. I can see that being a good fit for everyone, except for us because of the price.
Yeah, we're gonna take a hit regardless. I mean, talking of taking hits, bloody hell, we're losing nearly the whole price on Donny. I want you to explain to me about this financial thingy again, bath time. You say that when the transfer fees we pay off, this 500 grand, that we're getting rid of Donny for. I know we say I didn't expect him to have gone for so cheap, but I'm obviously they want to get him off the books.
Can you imagine what it's going to be like for Donny van der Beek as he goes to like Heathrow, and as he's walking past arrivals, he sees De Ligt coming in, going to United, and he's off to Girona or whatever for like a packet of crisps and a couple of Twixes.
I mean, even with the add-ons, because they've got some add-ons. Obviously, some of them are impossible. The ones they're talking about, appearance-wise, I mean, he might not even play for them anyway, so they might just have him for 500k. I assume we've got some sort of sell on, but it's only 4.2 mil. Is the maximum that we can make. Sounds like the maximum we can make from him, unless they sell him.
It's a 90% loss, isn't it? Was he 40 million?
40 million.
I'm baffled with Donny, you know. That baffled me. I thought he was going to be such a good player when we signed him, but it just hasn't worked.
Well, he reminds me a lot of Dele Alli, to be honest. Both their careers have followed sort of similar paths of them, like just dropping down. And they also play very similar positions. So, like, I do have some sympathy for Donny because I imagine, like, coming to a new club and then COVID starting is something that no professional footballer has gone through before. Like, you know, being him and his wife, like Estelle, just by themselves all day, like locked up and things like that. That must have been very difficult. But I mean, you have to think about the character of the man. It's not like he hasn't had chances. He said, like,
he has had chances. He has, he has.
He said like 4 or 5 managers since then. Like he's had Ralph Carrick, Frank Lampard, whoever it was at Frankfurt that he went to, and he has not been a regular starter for anyone since leaving Ajax, and that's been a relegation club and a Europa League club. And where I think we all agree that he's not a championship level footballer. He's definitely got a lot of stuff that would make him a Premier League footballer, but it's probably the heart and the brain weren't in it. And I think you have to lay quite a lot of blame at his door because he's had the opportunities.
Do you not think physically he wasn't strong enough or quick enough? Because I know that I think McTominay has attributes that he hasn't got, and I just think in the Premier League you've just got to be a lot more physically strong, quick. I think maybe Ajax was his level, unfortunately. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
seems to be a thing with a lot of the Ajax players, though. That was the worry you were saying the other day, wasn't it, Bath time? That Ajax have system players.
Ajax and Barcelona, correct. Like they're coached to play one particular way. And the thing is, right, is that when you move to a new football club, you understand that things are going to be slightly different. So like I went from South America to Spain, and you'd think that would be like pretty much the same thing, but it wasn't. There were different demands. There were things that I had to do, and there were things that I didn't have to do anymore. So you understand that you're going to be playing different systems, and there's going to be different things on you. A couple of things Donny never did is he never developed himself physically.
No,
like he's skinny.
Would you not remember when he came back from pre-season? He came back massive, and like Harry Maguire put a tweet out or something saying like, "Don't rip the armband when I give it to you." And Donny was all hench and things, but he put all the weight on in the wrong places, in my view. He wasn't able to kick a ball particularly far. You never saw Donny play the ball anything over 30 meters. Like he wasn't fast enough, he wasn't strong enough, he wasn't committed enough. He was also he was a complete maniac in the tackle. Like he just used to slide around all the time, put so much pressure on his teammates. He never really grasped what it was to play in the Premier League. And it turns out that he couldn't do it in Germany either. So when did he go to Spain?
Didn't he go to Spain the season before? Where did he go to?
I think he went to Everton and Frankfurt. Did he go somewhere else? You're getting confused with Hannibal or someone?
Only those two. Frankfurt was this season.
Yeah.
Was it only 2? You might be right, Bath time. I thought it was 3. I thought you were going to have... What a waste.
And then what else was crazy? Eric Ten Hag, his old manager, comes into United and he still doesn't get on the pitch.
Yeah, his dad came back and said you're grounded. I think like Donny did a lot of stuff that annoyed me on a football pitch, and he seemed like a nice lad. But I really have to doubt his commitment because, I mean, he I always got the impression, right, that if Donny came back and found his wife in bed with his best friend, he'd go, "Do you know what? I get it. He's a wonderful guy. I hope you're very happy together."
Yep.
That's the kind of attitude that I got from Donny. But I wish him well in his career, and I hope that he is the last of the sort of post-Fergie terrible signings, because we've lost 90% of a transfer fee and 4 or 5 years of like, you know, we could have played Angel Gomez or someone in his position. Or
There's been so many bad signings post Fergie. I've lost count.
Is he like where does he rank alongside? I don't know. Alexis Sanchez is probably the worst.
Sanchez is number one. He's the worst.
Yeah, Sanchez. Yeah,
Di Maria?
I would agree with that.
No, Di Maria was brilliant for United. It's just he didn't want to stay in England. That's the only problem. He was brilliant. I loved watching him play, but just didn't want to stay, unfortunately.
Pogba?
Oh, Pogba did some stuff in the United shirt. Not enough.
He could have been one of the best players for United, but he just didn't have the mentality, unfortunately.
We lost 90 million on him.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Lukaku?
Oh, what a show!
He just again put a load of weight on, didn't care. To another flop. Yeah, so many. It's crazy.
He did score about 25 goals one season. Would you put Maguire in flops?
No,
yeah,
I wouldn't.
I agree.
I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. No, because his first season was actually quite good, if I remember correctly.
I think he's been a good servant for the club.
Yeah,
I look. He's been a good servant without being a great player for the club.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
Yeah.
I've given him so much stick over the years, but no, he hasn't.
Everybody has.
Yeah.
It's the heat of the moment, Tyrone.
Yeah,
it's the heat of the moment. It's what happens. It's what happened. One more thing before we depart for the night. Luke Shaw made an appearance for England. Finally. What's your thoughts on that, Tyrone, in regards to him getting himself fit for the Euros? And he has to have bath time. You were saying that he has to have the 3 weeks off. I think that he should just allow the 3 weeks and just say no. He's gonna come and do what he needs to do for United. Because I just have a feeling those 3 weeks he goes away, he's gonna go get himself bloody injured. But Tyrone, glad to see him playing.
I'm glad to see. I was glad to see him on the pitch because it looked like we had more balance. I hope he starts the next game. I know he's been out for a long time, but I want him to start because you just can't have Trippier at left back anymore. It's too painful to watch. So yeah, I'd start. I hope he starts in the next game.
I found watching Shaw painful.
Did you?
All those little sprints he had to do, like he made a great recovery run, like, but it was like I was just waiting for something to go wrong, like looking at the physical demands on him, and you know you're going to have that for a while. Whenever like a player who's been out injured goes down for a bit, like my mind always goes back to R9, the original and best Ronaldo.
Yeah, the best,
like, yeah. Any time in Italy he went down, your heart was in your mouth. I feel the same way about Shaw. Obviously it doesn't benefit United. In fact, it impedes United with England doing well. I don't know what to think because I've sort of hated Shaw for the last 6 months. Like, where is he? Yeah, where is he? What's he doing? Now he looks a bit like that idiot off YouTube, Jake Paul. And but when I saw him, I was like, oh my God, look, it's Luke Shaw. He's playing football. This is great. So I just hope he comes back injury-free. And the big concern is that he's been rushed back by Southgate. And I don't want that to happen. Just like, let's just get him fit and not do what Ten Hag did and, you know, get him injured again in 2 games, not do what happened to Martinez where he got like injured again. Let's just get him back and we can get a run of games from the end of September to December out of him. And then we can judge.
Him back, but I do want Luke Shaw back, but I think United should be looking for someone who's not just going to play at left back for United and challenge him. We need to look for someone better. I think we should be looking for a new left back. Seriously.
Yeah, but it's hard to find someone better than Luke Shaw on his day. to be
Yeah,
I like
honest.
But do you
Grimaldo
think?
for Spain. Grimaldo's quite good, and I like Cucurella sometimes. But
I do not
No,
like
I've got
Cucurella.
Cucurella.
do you
Oh,
not
Lord.
like him?
No, no.
Grimaldo's
Absolutely
okay.
not.
Grimaldo's good.
Yeah, but he's never played in the Premier League, so you've
I
got
know.
that coming in. And the thing is like, all right, you might think Cucurella is a decent player, and he has shown he's a decent player at times. But when he's playing for Spain, you'll know, like I saw Kai Havertz and Fulkrug queuing up at him at the back post. You cannot have
true,
Cucurella and Martinez as our left-sided centre like a left-sided defensive pairing. We'll get eaten alive. And the other thing is that, like, I don't know if you like Harry Potter. I'm not a huge fan of it myself. It's very baby Lord of the Rings. But in Harry Potter, every year they get a new teacher in who dies at the end of the year and they have to swap it out. And that's basically what our left back spot has become. Like with Tellez, Malacia, like it's like there's a curse or something on them. And I just want a reliable left back who's not injured. Like if
That's the guy.
Cash,
This is the guy
he's the best I've seen.
I think
Theo
he
Hernandez.
really,
he's brilliant,
man. Oh, that's
He's
a good
very
call,
good.
Stephanie. That's a very, very good call, Steph.
Stephanie knows her
really
football.
he's really impressed me.
How much would it cost, though?
Who
he's the
does he
best
play
left
for?
back in the world, isn't it?
Who does he play for?
AC Milan, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, he's been at AC Milan for a long time.
Like 60 million would probably get him out of AC Milan, but he's got to want to come. And I think that he's the sort of guy that will be looking at Real Madrid or somewhere like that. I maybe that Alphonso Davies is going there, but I've seen chat support saying Mitchell at Palace.
No,
Mitchell,
thank you.
he has some of the best defensive stats in the league, and he can play every game. And at the moment, I wouldn't mind that instead of Malacia, who can't play a game.
So you take him as a backup. You take him as a backup to Shaw, and if Shaw gets injured, you're confident that he'll be able to fill the void for a little while. Or would you get rid of Shaw and have Mitchell in?
He'd worry me, mate.
No, I wouldn't get rid of Shaw. I'd get Mitchell in as a squad player, because you also have to think. I know it's really boring, but you have to think about a profile of players now. And a profile is what they can do tactically, technically, and physically. So with our team, we're going to play three at the back in possession. And at the moment, that means that one of Delo or one of Shaw has to make that back three, or they have to, go into midfield or whatever. Mitchell, I think, can be a left-sided centre-back and can play left-back in attack at a reasonable Premier League level. So to get him in, I think is absolutely fine. If we're going to get someone to compete with Shaw, I think we're looking at a lot of money, and we also have to think very hard about what profile we want from our left back, and that means lots of conversations about Rashford, Bruno, like Zirkzee, Højlund, where they're all going to play, who's going to supply the width. So just make it easy and get Mitchell in, and just play him as a left-sided centre back when Shaw's not around.
They need to be smart with the next couple of signings, but some multiple player positions would be nice. Somebody could play left back and left centre back would be nice, but we have to see if they're going to be smart or not, don't we? To be fair, welcome, Kerwin.
They should be able to sign players that we've not heard of, like gems. There's definitely players out there that we're not even talking about.
Yeah, but you see the problem with that, Tyrone. Whereas I think before, United probably had a monopoly on certain areas. The world's a very small place now, and everybody knows everybody. I think it's just maybe taking the chance. Really, I mean, I'm glad we're not going for big players. I said it for ages. I want players to become stars at Old Trafford, but
disappointed about Elise.
Say again.
Are you disappointed about Elise?
I am, because I feel that he would have added so much to our team, but I also understand that he wasn't the priority position. And I think last season we ended up being higgledy-piggledy what we bought. Yeah, we bought Onana, and now we bought Mount first.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, Mount did shag all for the whole, all right, he was injured for the season. But even we were trying to work out where Mount was going to play for 55 million.
Why did we sign someone who hadn't played the whole season for Chelsea and clearly wasn't valued by Chelsea? Just another stupid signing, man.
Yeah, he
Seriously.
was, to be fair, he was Chelsea's player of the season 2 years consecutive beforehand and provided an assist in the Champions League final. Like, so it's not like he's rubbish, but
No,
I think
not rubbish, but he wasn't playing before that, was he? After, like,
I
with
don't
injuries and
recall,
stuff.
but like when we go back to the profiles and things, what Mount was, I think, going to do was he was going to replace Fred, where Fred was best under Ten Hag at applying pressure up the pitch, right? Like, and we saw Fred scored a couple of goals. He was playing as a kind of 8-10, buzzing around Weghorst, and I think that the idea was that Mount would be as much of a workaholic, but would also add quality assists and goals up front whilst improving the press. So I don't think it was the craziest signing, but the thing is that if we're getting Ugarte in and we're getting Mount in and we're losing Casemiro, like there needs to be a physical presence somewhere in that midfield. And Mr. B will not be having that being McTominay. So we need, for his sake, to go and find someone with that physical presence. So I understand the Mount signing, but I still think we're losing physicality too much in our team.
He might win you over, Ugarte, actually. He might win you over eventually.
Well, last night he played against Brazil, a typical Bielsa performance, 10 men, and he made 15 duels in that match. Tyrone, do you know how many he won?
13?
5.
He won 5.
Oh,
Tyrone.
wow, Jesus.
That's like when Halftime sent me. Halftime sent. I looked at it and I just said, "Jesus Christ!" Now, there was nothing else. I'm just hoping it's how Bielsa's got him playing, because even then you don't lose. He lost 2/3 of his duels, man.
And that's consistent in the Champions League as well, 33%. I don't understand it, Mr. B. I don't know what we're doing looking at him. I hope we sign him so I can learn something new about football.
I don't know. To be honest, Halftime, as I said, I'm gonna wait. I'm just gonna have to wait. I'm just gonna have.
What are you thinking though? Seeing
Bloody hell!
Statistics.
Bloody hell is all I'm thinking. But they have to see. There's no way they haven't seen these stats. Halftime, you understand?
They've seen them.
And
yeah, but this is what's so exciting, is that there's like so many football men at the club now. It used to just be Ed Woodward, but we've got like, Blanc, Barada, my mate Dan, who I can assure you puts a high emphasis on physicals based on my own experience. And like, we've got like Rude and Hake and Eric. There's no way that there's got to be an explanation for why we're going for a CDM that can't win physical duels. It's just got to be a plan.
I didn't know he was a friend of yours, Dan Ashworth.
He is not a friend of mine.
Oh no, I thought you might have. I don't know. I didn't realise you were joking. My bad.
No, he's not joking. He's serious.
Tell
him. Please tell the story of Halftime. Just quickly. Only it's a very short one. Go.
As a young boy, Tyrone, I was winning a lot of competitions in the Peterborough area around Corby, and Peterborough United were my backup club for like youth development and stuff. And after being invited to a couple of games and doing what I thought was quite well in them, my father was informed that maybe that this wouldn't be the right mix for me because I was a bit too slow and small. And that was from Mr. Dan Ashworth, who now, 20 years later, has reappeared at my fucking football club. I'm not that impressed, to be perfectly honest. And Mr. B thinks it's amazing.
It's fucking hilarious. I love
it. It is quite funny, I suppose.
It's a bit, I don't know, size. When you look at when people talk about size, it always winds me up because I mean, if it was always about size, Scholes would never have been in the United team, would he? So I don't know.
Yeah, but like, I'll tell you why it's important, Tyrone, is that when you watch the next Euros match, look what they do at the kickoff. Just
long.
Look, yeah. And then like Spain. Did you watch Spain Germany?
England.
Yeah, it was a really good game. I thought
All it
Germany
was
would win.
physical duels.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Like you need. I doubt Dan Ashworth would remember me, Steph, but I would love to get him on. And I will be wearing every single medal I've ever won, like a big sort of chain of armor around me. Clinky. But yeah, like you need physicality, Tyrone. You need a physical floor to compete in the Premier League.
No, I'm not saying you don't need I'm not saying you don't need physicality. I'm just saying sometimes small players can be amazing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, of course they can, but normally not in the centre. And you've got to remember that Paul Scholes played his best football like much deeper.
Fair play.
Like he never really played in central areas. He either played off someone or behind someone. But he was like, he's not even a world-class player. Paul Scholes is a legendary player. He's one of the best players produced by Europe. And I don't think Ugarte is one of the best players produced in South America, to be honest.
Oh, bath time. Look, we're going to end. I've got one more thing to do before we end on this one. Bath time. And this is to you as well, Tyrone. Question from Dina.
I wouldn't take Rabiot for free. No, not at all.
Why not?
Just not my kind of player.
All right, I'm in two minds about Rabiot. I think I would take him, but the problem with Rabiot, right, is that he's just Casemiro Eriksson in the future.
Exactly. Yeah, that's another reason as well. Right.
It's United is his last big contract, and that means we pay twice. We pay for that contract. Yeah. But as a footballer, I really like him. He's got a fantastic engine. He's powerful. He can get up and down the pitch. He can win his physical duels. He's got like the ability to break lines. He's also left-footed, which is something that I believe
adds a little bit of balance.
Yeah. He good attacking and defending set pieces. He's played at the highest level, like winning World Cups and so on. He's surrounded by players like Mbappe, who he can get the best out of, and Griezmann. I think he'd be fantastic. And I know his mum's a bit of a problem, but I mean, his mum's not going to be like coming to Carrington and participating in rondos, and like she's not taking the set pieces or throw-ins. And you hope that he and them as a family might have grown up a little bit. But it's the future cost, and my belief that this club is going to churn as many people over as they can for the next 4 or 5 years. Rabiot's not a player you can churn. So no. I think it's a no.
Yeah, I want us to go for younger players now. I don't want us to be going for players that have basically got not a lot to prove. I want players who are hungry and want to prove something, basically.
You've also reminded me that it's a bit of experience in the midfield as well as a plus for him. Because like with Mount, Ugarte, Kobe, McTominay, Bruno, there's not a lot of experience there, is there? Certainly with Kobe.
Bruno's got experience.
Yeah, but not Kobe. A lot of. Yeah, but that's our midfield pool. So Ugarte won't have any experience of like English football, will he?
Okay. No.
Like
Kobe will have half a season, plus the Euros. Bruno will.
Yeah, Bruno McTominay have got experience. But the thing is that if we're getting a young team in, it's a good idea to have your Johnny Evans and your Rabiots and people around that can like help you get through difficult times, like on and off the pitch. So I wouldn't want, and I'm sure you're not suggesting this, Tyro, but I wouldn't want a team of super toddlers. There's got to be some.
No, not like what Chelsea have done. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and then they're going to lose Thiago Silva.
That would be a big loss, despite being 37. That's a big loss.
So you need people who can show the kids how to train and like what's needed of a professional footballer and stuff. And this is why I'm perfectly fine with people like Tom Heaton and Johnny Evans coming in on 2-year contracts. I think they're good role models.
That's probably why you want Maguire to stay as well, for the experience. And
yeah, but he's on 190 grand.
I know, that's the only problem. Yeah, you want to get him off the wage bill.
And to be honest, I think it's probably for everyone's best interest that Maguire moves, but it wouldn't be for footballing reasons. I think that he has become symbolic of a sort of period of counter-attacking football that people, even though we finished second and third with good points totals and things, like I think it's probably we need to move away from that kind of era. And I think Harry Maguire's our best defender in a high line at the football club and things like that. So for football reasons, I'd keep him. But I think there needs to be a bit of a symbolic move from Maguire and Rashford and, dare I say it, even McTominay.
No, look, guys, thank you. I'm going to end it briefly because then we'll end up talking for another 15 minutes. So look, 45 minutes in and out. Tyrone, thank you very much, man.
You're welcome, man. Like I said, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, just don't sit down in silence, man. Anytime you want to jump on, we can just send you the link. And guys in the chat, look, Tyrone's been on talking. You know, he's talking like he's a professional. You know, there isn't no, you know, he ain't got his mic. He's got no mic on. We don't ask for a mic. As long as we know you, we know Tyrone.
A camera.
Yeah,
sorry, he does have a mic on.
So
that's how we can hear him.
So shut up, bastard. You know, you guys knew what I meant. Yeah, he hasn't got a camera on, and it's not an issue. So, guys, look, you know, moving forward as the season progresses, you're more than welcome to jump on camera free.
Nah, bro,
the
camera will be on another time. Just not.
Yeah, that's Tyrone. As I said, Tyrone, it's not an issue, bro. We know you, so it's not. It's really not a problem. It's the newbies. Yeah. You know, that we might have a few issues. Well, let's say if they're going to come on, they're not going to come on to embarrass themselves. But, you know what I mean? But, yeah, thanks for that, Tyrone. Appreciate it, man.
I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed the discussion. And obviously, it's nice seeing all the comments as well.
Good. And give love to Tyrone in the comments, please. Like, some people do find it difficult coming on and speaking and so on. So make it a nice, welcoming environment.
Saying, but Lars will say, look, he's going to sub to Andrew Williams' brother. There you go. See? Guys, we move back tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I think we should see the lesser spotted Amondi tomorrow. Hopefully. Bath time, you around tomorrow?
I think I am, but when's the football on?
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, I should be around for tomorrow then.
No problem. All right, guys. From me, Mr. B, Bath time, and Tyrone.
Peace out.
Yeah, we'll see you all tomorrow.
Looking for the outro.